What's going on, guys? Yocom here. So I wasn't planning on doing this video until a little bit later down the road, but after seeing all of your guys' comments, wondering what deck I'm running, figured this is the best time than ever to get that deck profile. So I am running a Traptrix deck. Absolutely love this deck. I love the way that it plays, and it really has a special place in my heart because it's the first deck that I started running after going to the card shop for the first time, and one of the guys there recommended that I start with this and build this. So let's get into it. First off, 3 Pudica. I've seen a lot of people run just 2 Pudicas for that search, but also for the banish effect. I prefer running 3. Really comes in handy, especially in those times when like I really need the field spell. Of course, 3 Miramello. Got to have that whole search as well as special summoning for that spell and trap pop. It can get pretty nasty sometimes with that pop. Now, 3 Mantis, of course. Everybody's running 3 Mantis. Everybody's running 3 Miramellos. Comes in with that other Traptrix search. I don't really use her other effect to add one of my own spell or traps to my hand. It comes in handy sometimes, but not really a whole lot. No pun intended there. Now, this also where I see a lot of difference here is I like to run 3 Arachnicampas. A lot of people just run 2, but I like having her for that special ability when I am a little bit of a pinch and I really want to get into one of my extra deck Traptrix monsters, as well as just having her for that protection of the back row. Gotta have her. I enjoy running 3. Now, let's also see a lot of people that will do 3 Dianeas. I prefer 2. She really comes in handy in the beginning of the duel when I'm really establishing the board, but I find that after a couple of turns, she's still good. She still comes in handy to get that Traptrix or to get that hole from the graveyard, especially with one of my favorite trap cards coming up here. But yeah, I just run 2 Dianea. Next up, 2 Ash. Gotta have a great staple. I run 1 Giant Turtle. Definitely need the having that kaiju there really helps with my opponent's board and stuff like Baron de Fleur, which is the bane of my absolute existence. And last up for the monsters, I run triple Parallel Exceed. Now, a lot of people do run just 2. I had a buddy of mine that recommended I only run 2, but I like having 3. It really comes in handy, and a lot of the times having 3 really, at least in my experiences, has almost guaranteed that I end up with at least 1 in my hand. I have tried running 2 before and it didn't really work out because a lot of times I found myself getting both of them in my hand. 1 Rikeki, really good. I try not to run too many spells in this deck, as well as 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. So I also run 2 copies of Garden. Other people have recommended I run 1. 2 comes in handy and it works out for my play style, especially having the chances with the 3 Pudica if I don't draw into it. Of course, in the traps, 3 Holotea, a staple. You need her. She really comes in handy with getting that extra monster onto the board when I'm going into my extra deck, and also her banish effect in the grave, bringing out another Traptrix. So a lot of times I like to just banish her from the graveyard and then go ahead and bring out another Miramello to special summon. Sometimes it works out with my extra deck monsters. Most of the time I find myself special summoning a Miramello for that pop when I really need it. Now, 3 Gravediggers trap holes. A lot of people have been telling me, it's funny, I find myself doing a lot of things that I'm told are going against what I'm told, but this is my favorite trap card in the deck. The reason being, it's a negate. It's not a negate and a destroy, but it is negate and getting that 2000 damage. That's really come in handy in a lot of my duels. Running 3 of them, that's already 6,000, and I have been thinking about transaction rollback, running that in here, so that way I can get that 4th in a sense, but 3 for now on the Gravediggers trap holes. All right. 2 Trap Hole Nightmares, really good for special summon monsters. 2 terrifying trap holes, really good as well. 2 bottomless. A lot of people run just 1. I like 2. One of my favorites when it comes to the trap holes. Easy for that banish. 1 copy of evenly matched is good for when I go second, but also if I go first and I end up drawing into evenly matched and I don't need it, well, then I could just use it as fodder for Halatea. 1 D barrier. Now this is a recent addition. I haven't used it a ton, so I'm still figuring out if it's going to stay in the deck. But so far in the like once or twice that I've played it, it's worked out. Okay. 1 anti-spell fragrance, a really nasty card to play, especially against decks like Sky Strikers who rely so heavily on those spells. It's great. This card is why I don't run a lot of spells in this deck. And last, 1 imperm. Gotta have it for the negates. If it's already set, negating that column, it's gonna be great. So that's it for the main deck. It is 40 cards. Let's get into the extra deck here. So pretty standard, 3 copies of Sarah. Definitely need her. She is a staple. She is to be on the board at all times, remain on the board as much as possible. Now I run 2 Rafflesias. So what I really like doing in my opening board is I will establish a Sarah and then Xyz into a Rafflesia. So that way I've already got my negate set up as well as whatever back row I end up establishing. All right. 2 ping. I've seen people that run just 1. She really comes in handy with getting that Traptrix monster from the deck to the hand, as well as anytime you banish one of your opponent's monsters, it becomes material. That really comes in handy, especially with decks that are so graveyard banish heavy. Really awesome. I run 1 Kalaria. A lot of people don't run Kalaria when they run this. Again, just another staying on topic here. A lot of people tell me don't worry about her, she's really slow, but she really comes in handy with bringing all those Traptrix monsters at the end phase, especially when I've already got Miramello in the graveyard. I run 1 copy of Adipus. I don't really use her a ton, but having the attack boost is really great, as well as having that negate and pop. So good. Now for my off series cards, I really like running Time Thief Redoer. He's really helpful, especially with his different effects, whatever the Xyz material. But I mean, really every turn getting that top card from my opponent's deck, it has really come in clutch for me a lot. Run Zeus. Everybody runs Zeus in a Traptrix deck. You already know what he does, and he's great. But on the flip side, I also run 1 copy of Typhon. He doesn't come in handy a whole lot. He's very niche, but I figured, you know what, keep him in the extra deck. I don't really have a better card to replace him with, but he has really come in handy. Of course, 1 copy of SP. I got SP. I was really lucky when I got her before the prices really blew up for her, but great staple to have. Now, here's the other thing a lot of people have looked at me weird for. Spriggan's Merrymaker and Champion Sargus. So the reason I really like having these guys here is he's generic material, and then immediately as I bring him in, then I can bring in Sargus. Now, I don't need the search for the Spriggans and Therians because I don't run them, but what I do really like is when I have Rafflesia on the board, when I detach a material to use her effect for traps, that's going to trigger Sargus right here to pop a card on the field. So every time I detach a material from any of my Xyz monsters, that triggers him for a pop. Now, moving on to the side deck here, I don't use my side deck a ton, so I haven't really put a terrible amount of thought to it. So if you guys have comments or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it. But 2 copies of Droll, especially right now in this format, definitely need him. 1 Nib. I don't think I've ever used Nibiru since I've been running this deck, but still good to have just in case. one Ghost Ogre, as well as one Ghost Belle. These are very situational depending on what type of matchup that I have, but I've really, especially right now with Ghost Belle, she has seemed to really come back in popularity, so I'm really digging it. 1D Shifter. I don't care too much for this card, just because of the requirement of needing your graveyard to be empty. So it really is reliant on opening with it. I know some people that'll run 3 copies, so they're almost guaranteed to have it in their opening hand, but it's too situational. I don't care too much for D-Shifter. 1 Bear Grim, awesome boss insect monster. Not affected by effects or spells and traps, monster effects. Awesome card. Dark Ruler No More, Called by the Grave. Great staples to have. Lightning Storm for when you're going second and you need that little boost. Triple Tax, very situational. Again, I know I've got a lot of spell cards in my side deck here. If I'm going to plan on running these, a lot of times I'll just take out Anti-Spell Fragrance, so that way I don't run into any issues. Solemn Judgment. Terrifying Trap Hole, just having a third one really fits sometimes when I feel like I need that extra. A lot of times don't use it, as well as an extra copy of Evenly Matched. Now with this, I will put in game 2, I will side in my extra Evenly Matched. There you guys have it. That is the deck that I'm running. I have some things that I'm testing out with it because I refuse to get rid of my Traptrix deck. It is my pet deck. It is my heart deck. I absolutely love playing it. So I've kind of set this mission to do all that I can with it before moving on. And so I will show you guys, hopefully next video, if not the next video, really soon here. Regardless, I'm gonna have another deck profile out, just kind of like the evolution of my Traptrix deck, if you will, so that way you can kind of see just some of the fun and craziness. I did test out the deck that I'll be showcasing next at my locals, and I did get a few odd looks from people, and one guy was just really just curious and kind of like blown away that I put these 2 archetypes together. May or may not be, but you guys will have to see in the next video. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Also, you know, thank you all so much for the support from that first video. It really just blew me away with all of your guys' awesome support and feedback, and really what seems to be the start of a really awesome community. And I love that. I look forward to continuing on this journey with you guys. And with all of that, I end my turn.